Breaking news, breaking news. Are you serious? Oh, no. The Keystone pipeline has sprung a leak. 210,000 gallons of crude oil leaked into the ground today from the Keystone pipeline in Marshall County in South Dakota, according to the pipeline's operator, TransCanada. I remember when the BP oil spill took place. You may remember I was covering that way back in the summer of 2010 and how the oil just kept pouring and pouring and pouring. Ugh. Well, good news here. They did get the pipeline shut down, but not before 5,000 barrels of oil poured into the ground, into the this is not good, folks. The crews have shut down the pipeline, which occurred just about 3 miles southeast of the town of Amherst, South Dakota, according to Brian Walsh, who's a spokesperson for the State Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Matter of fact, this is the largest Keystone oil spill to date in the history of South Dakota. But in April of last year, 2016, there were 400 barrels that spilled. That was 16,800 gallons, in which the majority of that oil cleanup completed in 2 months. Get that cleaned up, and they did it. This is going to take a little longer. This is 5,000 barrels or 210,000 gallons of crude oil. It is below ground pipeline, but some oil has surfaced above ground into the grass. According to Walsh, it will be a few days until they can evacuate and get it into the borings to see if there is groundwater contamination. There were no initial reports of the oil spill affecting the waterways, the water systems, or the wildlife, he said, but TransCanada said it was working with state and federal agencies to just see what needs to be done. The safety of the public and the environment are our top priorities, and we will continue to provide updates as they become available, according to the company. The sections of pipeline affected stretch from Hardisty and Alberta to Cushings, Oklahoma, and to Wood River, Illinois. The spill occurred, though, in the same county as part of the Lake Traverse Reservation. We are concerned that the oil spill is close to our treaty land, but we are trying to stay positive that they are getting the spill contained and that they will share any environmental assessments with the tribal agency. You remember all of that, the big deal over they didn't want it through there. Okay, the Indians did not want, the Native Americans did not want the pipeline to run through their reservation. So they purposely, there was a big deal about it. Finally, Trump said, hey, go around the reservation. Do not cut through their burial grounds. Do not go through the reservation. So that they did. And they changed the route of it. Good thing, because this thing has sprung the leak. And it's not on the reservation, but it's not far from it. And we want to make sure it don't get there. We're concerned about this. And so Dave Flute, the tribal chairman, is keeping a close eye on this. The environmental activist groups Greenpeace said the spill shows another section of the pipeline in Nebraska should not be approved, but the Nebraska Public Service Commission needs to take a close look at this spill, according to Rachel Rye Butler of Greenpeace. A permit allowing Canadian oil company TransCanada to build the Keystone pipeline is a thumbs up to likely spills in the future, is what they're saying down there in Nebraska. Well, the Keystone pipeline system stretches more than 2,600 miles from Hardisty, Canada, all the way down to Texas, according to the Trans-Canadian company, and the pipeline transports crude oil from Canada. The proposed Keystone pipeline, which would stretch all the way to Steel City, Nebraska, would complete the entire proposed system by cutting through Montana and South Dakota. So in March, President Donald Trump's administration officially issued a permit that approved the construction of the Keystone pipeline. The approved followed years of intense debate over the pipeline and the hefty opposition from environmental groups who argue that the pipeline supports an extraction of crude oil from oil sands, which pumps about 17% more greenhouse gases than standard crude oil extraction. Environmentalists also oppose the pipeline because it would cut across one of the world's largest underground deposits of fresh water. And so tar sands oil is much thicker and stickier than traditional oil, significantly complicating the cleanup efforts. The fact is, it's thicker also means it needs to be combined with other hazardous materials to allow it to be transported through the pipelines. Native American groups have argued that the pipeline would cut across their sovereign lands, but Trump said the new pipeline will be a big win for American workers, but critics say it won't be because most of the jobs, of course, would be temporary just till they get the pipeline built. All right, so we're going to keep a close eye on this whole situation. Not good. We need jobs, and it makes sense to transport the oil through pipelines. Everybody else in the world does it. To be competitive, it makes sense. But don't go through the Native Americans' territory, I agree. And you got to make sure that you can prevent these types of catastrophes. Now, good news, they got this thing shut off fast enough that it wasn't the end of the world, but it shows you just how dangerous that it can be. I'll be back with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. We're living in the last days. Time is running out.